Easy way to kill your vending machine business. So walking into one of my locations, first of all, I got to give a little backstory. I've dealt with this problem before in my business, so I thought it'd be helpful to make a video. This is the same location. A couple months back, I over-rotated the T-handle on my Dixie Narco 501E, and the door just honestly hasn't sat right since. So off the rip, I already knew that I was having a sealing issue, which was causing my compressor to overwork. Because the compressor was overworking, it was causing the refrigeration deck to ice around the fins. Because I've dealt with this issue before, I know I needed to turn off the machine. So first things first, unplug the machine. After I powered down the machine, I went to the location's operator and asked if anybody wanted any drinks. It's important in my mind to under-promise and over-deliver, so I wanted to be sure that the report was still high. After setting out the blue Gatorade, I wanted to go back to the machine and see if I could work on the sealing issue. At this point, I have about 15 machines in location, and then I'm working on 2 more, but the majority of my drink machines are all the same. Since they're all the same, I can refer to the other machines and see how the hinge sits, see how wires are routed, and really get a better idea of how this door on this machine needs to sit so I can have success. One of the first things that I noticed was that the card reader's wires were on the outside of the door hinge, which in my mind was causing trouble with the door to shut. So I unplugged the card reader from the coin net, and then I rerouted it slightly in a better position, plugged it back in, and then I went back to the door to test to see how it would close. I also slightly messed with the hinge as well. After I went to shut it, I can immediately tell that the door is already aligned with the vending machine better. In my mind, since the door will be sealed now, this should be the fix. Airflow should be better. The first time I dealt with this issue, there was a breaker switch and the machine kept getting turned off and on, which causes refrigerant not to be able to cycle all the way through the lines. This plus the compressor thinking it needs to fire all the way up when it turns on and off every single time calls for disaster. From here, I'm going to keep the machine unplugged for about 12 to 24 hours, allowing all of the ice to melt without taking any tools to try to break it off. Side note, if a machine ever gets turned off and on, keep it off for at least 10 minutes before you turn it back on. Make sure all that refrigerant gets out of those coolant lines. Once this ice is fully melted, I'm going to plug the machine back in. Then I'll make sure the door is aligned and come back each week and check on the ice and make sure that it's resolved and doesn't come back. As long as the door is realigned properly, then proper airflow should be maintained after the ice melt, which would solve my icing problem. Anytime you see ice build up on your refrigeration deck like this, it's important to find the problem because refrigeration decks and compressors are not cheap and it stops you from serving your customer. I'm no professional by any means, so if you have your own little special technique or any advice that's the better way, please feel free to do so. And when it calls for an actual tech, call the tech. So about 15 hours later, I get a call from a no-caller ID.
There's some water coming from the back of the machine here.
I immediately hit the road. I knew I needed product from the night before, so I thought I would get it while I was out. After that, I wanted to get to my location as quick as possible, so I pulled up.
I'm just here to work on the vending machines. Thank you.
I tried to put on the friendliest voice I could because I did not want to get arrested. As I walked in, I could see that they moved the machine and the refrigerators. First things first, I wanted to open the door and see how the ice was melting. By this point, it had been about 15 hours, but if you remember, there was a huge block of ice on the refrigeration deck. This is the part as the vendor on my rookie contract that I needed to learn. There are drainage holes on these machines, but the amount of ice was just too much with the drip pan at the bottom of the machine. I wanted to make sure that the drainage hole was at least clear, and then I wanted to test the drip pan at the bottom. As you can see, 2 things. It's disgustingly dirty under here, and this drip pan is totally full. I needed to hit the road again, but this time I knew I had the towels laid down, so I had some more time. Instead of making a few more trips, I wanted to be sure that the ice would be melted. So I waited for the street light to come on before I made my next move. The sponges that you see me grab replace the sponges that are in the bottom of the drip pan currently. These new ones will absorb the water way better if this ever happens again, as well as the water that already naturally drips down. If yours are old, you should think about replacing them. From here, I wanted to scrub the inside just a little bit. I definitely want to find better ways to keep these things clean in the future. After that, I wanted to make sure any water that spilled out of the machine was cleaned up. Then finally, the moment of truth. After 26 hours, this was all the ice that was left. I felt good about all the ice melting off the fins, so I plugged in the machine. I wanted to be sure everything powered up and the door aligned right this time. My phone was dying, so I wasn't able to get many more videos, but I felt good about where it was aligned. This was me when I was leaving. I grabbed the towels, the rags, and the rest of my trash, and I was out of there. We went from this to that in 24 to 26 hours, all by unplugging the machine, letting it rest, and fixing the seal on the door. And the wise words of Biggin, that's how you get her done.